heard a gossip, or maybe it's not a gossip, that futures market is about to die. Is it true? Do you feel it will happen? Has this gossip been around?
Well, I have to tell you, at first I don't agree. I don't see the futures industry itself going away. It serves too critical of an economic function. And the only reason you have futures is for risk management. It's a way for you and I to shift our risk of price change to someone else. And I dealt with companies around the world. That becomes a critical part of their balance sheet is to hedge. So that's not going away. So I don't see that changing. Now, what can happen is that if the underlying market that you and I are looking at for the futures contract, if it's not very volatile right now, let's say it really calmed down, well, so will the future, so will the volume. And sometimes people say, see, that futures contract probably doesn't have a chance at all because the volume's so low. Well, the reality is it's the underlying instrument. But when that underlying instrument heats up again, so will that volume, so will it pull in orders into that marketplace, and so will the volatility for the underlying futures contract. So can we go through periods of ebb and flow in the futures industry? Absolutely.
Cbot is closing open outcry, and how it will affect volume of the contracts on the market, and how retail traders would have to trade now. Do they have to work 24 hours?
Well, here's where that comes into play. First, I really don't think it was the best move. Now, the reason the CME group has said so far that they want to close the open outcry for futures, not for options, that will still be in place. It's difficult to take all the strategies and things that people can do face-to-face and put it on a screen. So that's probably going to be around for a little bit longer. The futures issues, they said they could save $10 million a year. But the fact is, there's a lot of companies who want a floor execution. One of the reasons for it, actually, let's say that you want to buy 20,000 contracts to hedge a position. On the floor, that floor broker, even though the volume is down on the floor, can work that order. So they could buy at 500, they could be quiet. If the market heats up a little bit, they buy at 1,000. It gets quiet. So they can give you a better price overall. So that client's further ahead by the ability to have a floor order that can be worked, especially if it's large. So we have that element that really is a critical part for a number of companies, actually. But if you look at overall volume, it is really on the screen. It's on Globex. And Globex is an entity. It's a software program, right, that matches all the buy and sell orders. Now, there are some good things about that system. You know, one, it does trade 24 hours, as you mentioned. It's closed for about a half hour for maintenance, but it's turned on and it goes. But what's good about it is the first in is first out. So if I'm going to buy one contract and you're going to buy 10,000, if I push the button first, I get filled first.
Right.
Then you get filled, right? So it's a fair, transparent marketplace. So it gives us those kind of advantages. But if you look at the idea of 24 hours, going back to your point, which is a good point, the answer would be no. But here's what it does give us a chance to do. It allows you and I to, say for stock indexes, to express an order about the U.S. stock market before the U.S. stock market is open. And so we can also express an opinion after the stock market closes. Or I could buy during the day and put a risk management stop, and it stays open for me all day.
So when the open outcry will be closed, when do you foresee peaks of volume during the 24-hour period?
That probably won't change much from where it is right now. I mean, you'll see that depending on the event that's driving it. Typically, the most volume is going to be in the United States. That's what we would expect to see. But it shifts around the globe depending on what's happening. So if we had an event in the United States that causes bleed over to Asia, you're going to see that volume pick up in Asia. Or something that's been announced in Europe we're going to see that pick up as people start sending money towards the United States or taking money out of the United States. So those kind of events have a tremendous impact. And that really is what's going to cause that shift in volume.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.